Okay, am I audible? If any one of you can confirm. Abhinav, Rohan, Ritom, Ripon, Riddhi. If any one of you can confirm whether I'm audible or not. Shreyoshi.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yep. Okay, let's start then. Or let us do one thing. Let us wait for 2 to 3 more minutes. Let some more people join, and then we can start. So we will wait till 6:33, and then we can start. Okay. Okay, let's start then. I hope my PPT is visible. Okay, so in the previous class, we just okay. So in the previous class, we have studied the basics of lists, and today we will continue with that, and we will try and finish it. And also, we will study some other concept of Python that is known as dictionary. Okay, so let us do it fast. Okay, so a list obviously will have some inbuilt methods. So the first method for today will be sort. Okay, now again we have seen sort method earlier as well in the previous class, but in this method let us understand. Okay, so suppose we have this example. Okay, so in this example we can see that we have four elements. So the first one is banana, and that is in small letters. The second element is what? Orange, and O here is in capital letters. Then we have kiwi in capital letters, and then we have cherry. Okay, so by default the sort method, what it does is it is actually case sensitive in nature. Okay, so this what does it result in? It results in all capital letters being sorted before the lowercase letters. Okay, so if I have a list like this, so what will happen is, so first and foremost the sort method will take the elements that are in capital letters. So orange and kiwi are in capital letters, and obviously it will sort it first. So obviously after sorting, kiwi will come first, and then the second element will be orange. After the sorting is done, it will go to the small letters. Okay, so then it will sort what? Cherry and banana. Okay, so let us see an example. So let us go to the command prompt and let us zoom this first. Okay, just a second. Okay, so let us zoom this. I hope it is visible to everyone. Okay, so let us invoke Python first. So if I invoke Python, so this will be the case. Okay, so if I have a list called as this list, okay, and suppose we have elements such as banana, we have small capital O orange, we have capital K kiwi, so kiwi, and lastly we have cherry in small, okay, like this. And now if I write this list uh, dot sort, okay, and if I print this list, let us see what happens. So again, you can see that initially the things that are in capital, the elements that are in capital letters will be sorted first, and then the elements that are in small letters will be sorted last. Okay. So again, to mitigate this kind of things, so what we can do, we can just write. Okay. So what we will do is we will just copy this first. It has already been sorted. So let's copy this first and then paste it. So this will be the unsorted one. Okay. Now what we will do is we will write this list and we will write sort, and inside this sort we will give an argument. And what will be the argument? It will be inside, it will be of the form key and then the function. Okay, so let us say, let us write key first, and then we will write an inbuilt function. So what's the inbuilt function? We will write, so these are strings actually, the elements are strings. So we will write str dot lower. So if I write this, it means that first and foremost, every element, since they are strings, so every element will be first converted into lowercase. And after converting every element into lowercase, it will then sort the elements in ascending order. Okay. So if I just write this, and now if I print this list, let us see what happens. So okay, again we can see that every element has initially been turned into lowercase. It has been sorted, and then the output has been given in the actual form. Okay, so again, using str.lower will not change the capital K into small k, capital O into small o in the output. So the output will be in the original form, but again, when the function will be happening, it will be inside. uh, just a second, guys. Okay, I'm very sorry, actually there was a power cut. Am I audible now?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, I will share my screen first. So just very sorry for that. Okay, so I hope my screen is visible now. Okay. Anyways, so what we were saying is that so what happens is whenever we are writing key is equal to str.lower, what happens is every element has been now converted into small cases and it has been sorted. But whenever we are giving the output is actually in what? Actually in the original form. Okay. Okay. Then again, so again, if you remember that we have seen earlier that if I want to reverse a list, we can do that using the indexing, using the slicing method. Okay. So if I again, if I have this list, and if I want to print this list in reverse order, so what I can do, I can write the slicing concept. So I will not give the beginning index, I will not give the ending index. What I will do, I will just give the step count as -1. So if I give the step count as -1, and if I don't give the starting and the ending index, and if I press enter, so again you can see that the list has been now been printed in reverse order. Okay. Also, if I don't want to do that, okay, so what I can do, I can just there's a inbuilt method for doing that. So what I can do, I can write this list dot reverse. If I write it like this, and again if I press enter, and now if I print this list, so again we can see that it will be printed in reverse order. Okay. So again, whenever we want to do a simple program, there may be multiple ways by which we can do it. So again, in this ppt you will again see for a simple for one program, for one objective, we will be actually using more than 2 to 3 ways by which we can do the same thing. Okay, so this is again, so if I want to print the list in reverse, we can use two different ways to do the same thing. Okay. Okay. For the next one, again, if as we have seen earlier that we can use a key function pair. So again, using a custom function, we can do the same thing. So again, let us see that how we can write a custom function like this. Okay, so if you see this first example, you can see that we have a list as 100, 50, 65, 82, and 23. Okay, now what I will do is I will write this list dot sort, and instead of, so in the previous scenario we have seen that it is str dot lower, which means we are actually converting the elements of a list into lowercase and then we are sorting it. Okay, so in this case what we will do is we will just pass the elements of a list into a custom function that we will write. Okay, so if you see at the function, if you see the function, so obviously since we have not done function as of yet, but still if I need to understand the basics of function, we need to understand that a function will start with a def keyword. Okay, so it will be defining a function. So we will write a def keyword, then we will give the name of the function, and inside the function we can give some arguments. Okay, so in this case we have given an argument n. So what is n? Actually, n is a variable that will store whatever value we will pass to the function. Okay, now let us see what happens. So whenever we are passing a value to the variable n, a 50 will be subtracted from the variable n and the value will be returned. Okay, so which means if I have this list as this, so initially I will pass n, so n will be the first element of the list. So initially I will pass 100, and what will be returned? 100 minus 50, that will be 50 will be returned. Okay, so let us do an annotation like this. Just a second. Okay, let us do an annotation. So just pardon my handwriting, I'm using a mouse. So what I can do is, so if I just give 100 to this, so if I subtract 50 from 100, 50 will be returned. Okay. Okay. Next case, I will be passing what? 50. So in this case, 0 will be returned. So since 50 minus 50 will be 0, then we will be passing 65. So in this case, what? 15 will be returned. Okay. Next case is 82. So what will happen? 32 will be returned. Right? And lastly, we have 23, which means minus 27 will be returned like this. Okay. Now, if we sort this list, so what will be the value? The value will be, it will start with minus 27, since this is the lowest value. Then it will be 0, right? Then it will be 15, right? Then it will be 32. Okay. And lastly, it will be what? 50. Like this. Now, what is 27? So 27 will be actually what? 23. It represents 23. 0 will represent what? 50. Okay. 15 will represent what? 65. Then 32 will represent what? 82. And lastly, 50 will represent what? 100. So you can see that using this function as well, we are able to sort the list in ascending order. Okay. So let us see this example in real time and it will be much more clearer to you. So let me clear the drawings first. Okay. And let us say that we have a list. Suppose we have L. So first and foremost, we will define the function. So define my function, and what will be the argument? It will be n. And obviously, whenever we are defining a function, it will be succeeded by a colon. Why? Because after giving an enter, we will have to write indent the scope by 4 spaces. Okay. So what will I return? I will return n minus 50. Okay. So that will be my function. Okay. Suppose I have a list like this. Suppose I will have 100, I will have 50, I will have 65, I will have, for example, 82, and lastly, I will have 23. Okay. And what will I do? I will write L dot sort, and in the key, I can give a function that I have written, custom function like this. Okay. And now if I print the value of L, you will see that it has been sorted accordingly. Okay. So I hope it is clear till now, till this. Okay. Again, we have another method called as sorted. So till now we have seen sort. So another method is called sorted, where we can do the same things. So it will have three functions like this, or three arguments like this. So first will be the iterable. Iterable will be nothing but the what the name of the list that we will have. Then we will have the key. So again, using the key concept, we can give the key concept here as well. And lastly, we will have a reverse. So reverse can be either be equal to true or can be equal to what, false. Okay. So again, if I see an example, so suppose I have this only. Suppose I have this list like this, and what I will do is I can write just a second. Okay, so what I can do is I can write print sorted, and inside the sorted we can give arguments as L, right? Suppose we do not want to give a key argument, and suppose we do not want to give a reverse argument. So again, if I print this, you can see that it is being sorted like this. Okay, and if I again if I can give the same thing, but I give reverse is equal to true, so again it will first sort it and then it will print it in reverse like this. Okay, so I hope it is clear to everyone till now. Okay. Okay, we'll move to the next slide. So the next slide is that how we can make a copy of a list. Okay, so suppose we have a list like this. So suppose let us take the same example. Suppose we have a this list, and in this list, suppose we have three elements: apple, banana, and cherry, for example. Okay, and suppose I will define a list called as my list, and I will say that it's an empty list. Okay, so if I print my list to confirm whether it's empty or not, you can see that yes, it is empty. Okay, now again, if I want to copy the elements of this list into my list, what I will do, I can write my list is equal to this list dot copy. Okay, and now if I print my list, you can see that every element of this list has now been copied into my list. Okay, so this is one way of doing a copy. Okay, another way of doing the same thing is by using the keyword called as list. Let us see what happens. So first and foremost, to confirm, I will delete my list first. Okay, and now again I will declare my list as an empty list. Okay, so what I can do is I can write my list is equal to, I can write my list is equal to, I can write list. So list is the keyword here. So list of what? This list. And if I write this, and now if I print my list, you can see that every element of the list, this list has been copied into my list. Okay. So again, we are seeing that there are two ways of doing the same thing. Okay. Okay. So for the next example, we will see that how we can concatenate two lists. Okay. So suppose again, I will have two lists. So I will have this list, right? And again, I will have my list. So although the elements of both the lists are same, but still we can see that both the lists are actually two separate entities. Okay. Now, if I want to concatenate both these lists, so what I can do? I can write print. I can write print. I can write this list plus my list. So I can just use the plus operator, and I can easily concatenate them. So if I just print this, just see what happens. So if I print, you can see that all the elements of both the list are now been concatenated into a single list like this. Okay, so we are just printing this. If I just instead of printing, if I save this into another list, so obviously list 3 will be actually be equal to this list. So my list will be equal, there are three elements in my list, there are three elements in this list, and if I just concatenate these two lists, and if I just save them into another list, so the resulting list will be having what, six elements obviously, and this will be the six elements. Okay, again, uh, as we have seen that we can concatenate two lists using the plus operator, using the addition operator. Again, there are different ways by which we can do the same thing. Okay, so the first way will be there in the second slide, next slide. Okay, so what's the first way? The first way is either we can use a loop to do the same thing. Okay, so let us see an example. So again, we have this list, and again we have my list like this. Okay, so what I can do is I can write for I in this list like this. Okay, I can give a colon. Why? Because we need to give a scope. And again, what I can do is I will give four spaces, And what I will do is I will write that for every element in this list, I will take that element and I will just do what? I will just append the element that we have taken from this list into at the end of my list. Okay. So again, if you remember using the append method, what we actually do is we actually append elements to the end of the list. Okay. So what I will do in this case, I will write my list dot append. Okay. And what I will append, I will append I like this. Okay. And if I just press enter, and now if I print my list, so you can see that everything has been appended into my list. Okay. So this is the first way by which we can do the same thing. The second way by which we can do the same thing is, so suppose again, let us clear the elements of my list first. My list, or let us pop the elements. Okay. Uh, let us pop some elements, or let us clear the elements first. Okay. So I will write my list. Okay. So the clear and pop, let us do it separately. So what I will do is I will just write my list and I will just append the first three values like this. I will just initialize the first values at this. I hope it is clear what I'm trying to do, because again clear and pop, these functions will be we will study it later. Okay. So again I will have my list with three elements, and again I will have this list as three elements. Okay. So what I can do, I can write this list or my list dot extend. So extend is another method by which we can do the same thing. So what I will extend, I will extend this list. So what this means is to my list, whatever will be the elements of this list will be now added. So actually it means that I am extending my list to incorporate this list into my list. Okay. So if I just press enter on this, and now if I print my list, so again you can see that we are actually doing the same thing. Okay. So again we have seen that there are three ways by which we can do the same thing. We can concatenate two lists either by using the plus operator, addition operator, or we can use a loop, or what we can do, we can use a extend method that is default in Python. Okay. Okay. Okay, so this is the same thing that is there in the slide. Okay, so we'll move to the next slide. Okay. Again, there are two bonus methods that we will see in list. So the first method is known as count. So again, if I want to count in my list, if I want to count the number of occurrences of the item banana, so if I count this, obviously it will be 2. So again, we can see that if I know what is the exact value of the element, we can just use count to know what is the exact count of that element in the list. Okay. Okay. Next bonus method that we will study is called as index. Okay. Now, what is index? So obviously, if I write my list, and if I want to find out the index of the apple, okay, like this. So again, you can see that it is printing the index as 0. Now, obviously, you can see that there are two apples in the list. But again, using the index method, what we can do is we will actually get the index of the first instance of the element apple. So if there are more than one instance of the same element, so using the index method, what we can find is we can find out the index of only the first instance, not the second instance. Okay, I hope it is clear till now. Okay, anyways, so with this we will come to the end of list. So again, there will be there can be various other methods for lists as well. You can obviously use Google, or you can use some Python programming book to study those. But whatever we have studied till now is actually whatever we use in our day-to-day programming lives. Okay. So I don't think anything more than this will be needed for actually doing a Python program. Okay. Okay. So with this, we will come to the end of lists. Okay. So the next topic that we will study today is very important. It's very important actually, and it is known as nothing but dictionaries. And now again, if I give an example of the real world usage of dictionaries, you will find that just a second. Let me see the. Okay. So okay. So using a dictionary, suppose we want to develop a machine learning algorithm. Okay. And suppose what's the objective of this machine learning algorithm? So suppose we say that it will be a classifying algorithm. Now let us let us take an example that what will we classify using this algorithm. Suppose let us say that if we have a sentence, we will have the sentiment of a sentence. Okay. So which means sentiment can be of three types. One is a positive sentiment, one is a negative sentiment, and one is a neutral sentiment. So suppose let us take three examples of three sentences. So the first sentence is suppose that India won the match today and I'm very happy. So if I give this sentence, it is actually a positive sentiment sentence. Okay. Suppose if I take another example that Pakistan won the match today and I'm sad. Okay. If I just take out the sentiment of the sentence, it's a negative sentiment sentence. Okay. And suppose we have an example that uh, India and Pakistan played well in the match. Okay. So it's neither a positive sentiment, neither a negative sentiment. So it's actually a neutral sentiment sentence. Okay. Now, so obviously using machine learning algorithms, we can train our system like this, that whenever we are giving input sentences, so according to the input, the machine learning algorithm can classify the sentence into either positive, negative, or neutral. Okay. Now, so whenever we are having a machine learning algorithm and we are saying that we will give input to the algorithm in terms of sentences, now obviously we understand that a sentence cannot be given as input to a machine learning algorithm. So obviously it should be in number format. Okay. Now how we can use a number format? So again, suppose we have a word called as India, and we say that we will assign a specific value to the word India. So suppose we are saying that we will assign the number 20 to India. Okay. Again, we can say that we can assign the number 30 to Pakistan. Okay. So which means whenever I will give a sentence, and if the sentence contains the word India, that India word will be replaced by 20. Or if a sentence contains the word Pakistan, the Pakistan word will be represented or will be replaced by the number 30. Okay. So again, if I want to do this, so actually this is nothing, this is called nothing but one hot encoding. Okay. So I will encode words with a unique number value. So this is this is called as a one hot encoding. Now this whole thing is very easy if I do this using a dictionary. Okay. So again, using dictionaries, we can do the same thing. So again, you can see that whenever we are, if I want to go into the industry where we have machine learning, where we have deep learning, where we have data science, where we have big data. So again, dictionaries will play a very important role whenever we are doing our day-to-day programming using in these industries. Okay. Now, so let us move into the dictionary first. So by definition, a dictionary is used to store data, but the most important thing in this definition is that it will store data in the form of what key value pairs. So this is the most important thing. Just a second, let me annotate this. If I annotate this, so this is the most important aspect. Okay, so dictionaries are used to store values, datas, and this data will be in the form of what key value pairs. Okay, and whenever we are writing a dictionary, it will be always written in the form of a curly bracket. So if you remember, whenever we were talking about list, we said that whenever we have a list, it will be denoted in using using square brackets. But whenever we will have dictionaries, it will be obviously denoted using what curly brackets. Okay. So again, if I just go to the command prompt and if I just clear this, if I go to the command prompt and if I write this dict, so suppose this is the variable name, this dict, and what I'm saying is suppose this variable I'm saying that it will start with a curly bracket and it will end with a curly bracket. So if I'm writing this and if I press enter, and now if I print the type of this variable, so if I print the type of this variable, so again we can see that it is nothing but a dictionary. Okay. So again, a dictionary will always start with a opening curly bracket and it will end with a closing curly bracket. Okay. So this is the first thing. The second thing is the key value pair. Now again, in this example, we can see that this dictionary will actually have what three elements. How we are seeing three elements? Because you can see that all the elements are separated using what commas. So again, we will have the first element, and after that we will have a comma. Then we will have the second element, then we will have a comma, and then we will have the third element. So in total, there are three elements and separated by what? Two commas. Okay. and every element will be in the form of what? Key value pairs. Okay, so again for the first element we can see that the key is actually what? Brand. And for the key brand, what's the value of that key? It is Ford. Okay, for the second element we can see what is the key? It is model. And for the key model, what's the value? It is Mustang. Okay, in the third element we can see that what's the key? It is year. And for this key, what's the value? It's 1964. Okay, so let us see an example. Let us write the same example and let us see what happens. So suppose we have this dict. Okay, and so in this dict we will have three elements. So what's the first element? The first element is, suppose I'm saying, what's the name? Brand, right? Yes, it's brand. So suppose we are saying it's brand, and for the brand we are saying that it is nothing but Ford. Okay, then we will use a comma to separate the first element from the second element. Okay, so for the second element we will have what? Model. Okay, and what's the value of this key model? It will be what? Mustang, like this. Okay, and again we will have a comma. Why? Because we need to separate the elements. So for the third element, what is the key? The key is, suppose, year of build, so we are writing year. And what's the value of this key? It is, suppose we are saying it is 1964, like this. Okay, and if I print this dict now, you can see that there are three elements with the key value pairs like brand Ford, model Mustang, and year 1964. Okay, so I hope it is clear till this. Okay, now, so to continue with the definition, we are saying that a dictionary is a collection which is ordered. Okay, now again, if you remember, what is ordered? It means that the order in which I will insert elements into the dictionary, that order will be maintained by the dictionary. Which means if you see this previous example, see, if I am giving the elements in this order, the dictionary will not change the order by itself. Okay, so whatever order I am giving, I am maintaining to give the inputs, the same order will be maintained by the dictionary as well. Okay, so this is the first thing. The second thing is it is changeable. So again, if you remember, changeable and not changeable. So again, it means if a value cannot be changed, it is known as immutable, and if a value can change, it is known as what? Mutable. Okay, so again, if you remember, a string is immutable, which means it is unchangeable, right? But a list and dictionary in this case are actually what? Mutable, which means the values of a list and dictionary can change. Okay, I hope you remember the example. Anyways, so so the values in dictionaries can change, which means the dictionary is actually mutable in nature. Okay, and lastly, it will not allow for duplicates. But again, if you remember, in the case of a string allows duplicates. In the case of a list will allow duplicates, right? But a dictionary in this case will not allow duplicates. Okay, so let us see an example. So suppose we have three elements here, and let us focus on the last element. It is what? Year and 1964. Okay, so what I can do is I can write this dict. Okay, so I can just copy this. Just a second. Let me copy this. It will be much more easier for you to understand. Okay, so what I can write this dict, and I can just paste this. And suppose I need to have a fourth element, so I will again use a comma. And the fourth element, what is the key? The key, suppose I'm giving it as year. So again, you can see that we are repeating the keys. Okay, and for the value, suppose we give it as 2020, just a second, like this. Okay, now if I press enter, the dictionary will be saved. But now if I print the dictionary, let us see what happens. So as we said that the dictionary will not support duplicate values. So if I print this dictionary, you can see that duplicate values are not allowed. So which means duplicate keys will be not allowed. But again, you can see that the latest element that has been inserted with the same key name, the value of that latest entry will be preserved. Okay, so which means if it's 1964, that is fine. But more recently, what I have entered for the key year, it is 2020, which means that this 2020 value will actually replace what? The previous value, that is 1964. So that is the same thing that is happening here, that we are able to see in this example. Okay, so I hope I'm clear till this. Anyways, so again we have seen that it can be changed, but it does not allow duplicates. Now how can it be changed? We will see in the later slides. Okay, now again, if I want to print the length of the dictionary, so again we can use the universal function, that is len. So if I again use this function, so if I print the length of dictionary, if I just print the len of this dict, so obviously it will be 3. So again it will be 3 like this. Okay. So I hope I'm clear. Okay. Anyways, I will just remove this annotation. Just a second. Okay. Okay. So let's move to the next slide. Just a second. What happened? Right. Okay. Okay. Again, in the first example, you can see that whenever we have multiple values in a dictionary, so we can see that dictionaries are actually heterogeneous in nature, which means they support various data types. Okay. So again, you can see in the first example that we have a variable called as this dict, and it starts with the opening curly bracket, ends with the closing curly bracket. So which means it's a dictionary, right? And we can see that there are 4 elements, and there are 3 commas to separate these 4 elements. Okay. And for the first element, the key is what? Brand. The value is Ford. For the second element, key is electric. The value is false. For the third element, the key is year. The value is 1964. And for the fourth element, the key is colors, and the value is actually a list. Okay. So which means for the first element, what's the data type of the value? It's actually a string. Okay. For the second element, we can see the what's the data type of the value? It's actually a boolean. Okay. For the third element, the data type of the value is actually integer. And for the fourth element, the data type of the value is actually what? A list. Okay, it can be dictionary as well. Okay, so again, we can see that how we can have nested dictionaries, that is dictionary inside a dictionary. We will see that. So again, as mentioned earlier, that a dictionary, the items of a dictionary can be of any data type. So which means it will support multiple data types at the same time. Okay, which means it is actually a heterogeneous in nature. Okay. Again, so we have seen this example, the second example. So to print the data type of the dictionary, we will use the type function. So again, to print the type of this dict, so since it's starting with opening curly bracket, ending with closing curly bracket, so if I print the type of this variable, this dict, so obviously we have seen this, that it is nothing but of class dictionary. Okay. Okay. Let's move to the next slide. Okay. So again, you can access the items of a dictionary by referring to its key name inside what? A square bracket. Okay. So again, if I see an example, so suppose we have this dict, and suppose I want to print the value of the key brand. Okay. So what I can do, I can write this dict. I can use a square bracket like this. And what will be inside the square bracket? It will be the name of the key. Okay. So what's the name of the key in this case? It will be brand, for example. Okay. And if I want to print the value of the key brand, I will just use the square brackets and I will press enter. And again, you can see that what will it return? It will return the actual value of the key brand. Okay. Similarly, if I want to find the value of the key model, so again, you can see right what? If I press enter, I can see that the value is actually Mustang in this case. Okay. So this is the first way by which we can do this thing. So again, you can, if you remember, we are having, we are trying to find out 2 to 3 ways of doing the same things. Okay. Okay. Again, if I want to do the same thing using some other way, so there is another method called as get. So if you just see this PPT, so again you can see that there is another method called as get. Okay. So whenever we are using get, so suppose I will have this dict, uh, right? And I will write dot get, and inside this get will be a method, and inside the get, what will I will do? I will just use a inverted comma. Why? Because the keys are actually in string format, and inside this inverted comma, what I will do? I will write model, for example. Okay, and if I press enter, so again you can see the value, that is Mustang, is again being returned by the same thing, by the get method. Okay, so again using these two methods, using the get method as well as using the square bracket method, we can get the values of the keys that we mention inside them. Okay, I hope this it is clear till now. Okay, anyways, let us move forward. Again, there's another method called as keys. So what will the key method do? The keys method will return a list of all the keys in the dictionary. Okay, so let us see what happens. So if I have this dict, and suppose I say dot keys like this. Okay, and if I press enter, So again, you can see it is returning what? A list of all the keys that are present in what? This dictionary, that is this dict. Okay, so what are the keys here? It is brand, model, and year. Okay. Okay. Again, if I add a new item to the original dictionary, so which means if I add a new item to the dictionary, this dict, and we can see that the dot keys method will get updated as well. Okay, so let us see what happens. So suppose if I write if this is the uh, if this is the dictionary, so let us copy this, and if I just paste this here, and suppose inside I want to add another item. So the third item is year, and suppose I will give a comma, I will add a new item, and suppose I will add the element as what's the key? The key will be, suppose it will be, what happened? Oh, yes, okay, just a second. Right, okay. So I will give a comma. I will just give two inverted commas. Why? Because the key in this case, I am saying that it will be a string. So suppose I write type in the key. Okay. So the name of the key is actually type, and what's the value? Let us say that it is electric. Okay. And if I press enter, and if I print this dict, so again you can see that there are four elements now. How I can check that? How I can check that? I can use len of this dict, right? And now if I print this dict dot keys like this, so again you can see that previously when we did the same thing, we had a list and there were three elements in that list, but now we will have four elements in that list. Okay, why? Because we have just added another element to the actual dictionary. Okay, so obviously if I do that, obviously if I print the keys, that number of keys also will be updated to 4 from 3, obviously. Okay, so I hope it is clear till this. Okay. Again, since I have a method by which we can see what are the keys in a dictionary, so obviously we should have a method by which we can see the values as well. Okay, so what's the method for seeing the values? It is actually dot values. Okay, so which means if I just write this dict dot values, okay, so again you can see that there are four values, right? And again if I do the same thing, which means I just let me copy this, and I will just insert another item, and let us see whether the dot values, the list gets updated or not. Okay, so if I just paste this here, and suppose I have another item, let us say that it's tire, and let us say that it's mrf. যদিও ফোর্ড এমআরএফ ইউজ করবে না, বাট তাও দেখি। আচ্ছা, let us say that it is mrf. Okay, okay, what happened? Okay, we have given extra space, so let us remove this extra space and then let us give enter. Okay, so if I print this dict, now you can see that a new element has been added. Okay, now again if I want to find out the values, so I will write this dict dot values like this. Okay, and again you can see that the values have been updated. So it was 4 initially, so now it has become what? 5. Okay, so I hope this is clear to everyone. Okay. Okay, so we have a method to get the keys, we have a method to get the values, but what if I want to get both of them together? Okay, so for that we have another thing, another method called as this dict, suppose, and the method name is what? Items. Okay, so using this item method, what we can do, we can get a list, and instead of elements in a list, we will get actually tuples. What's a tuple? Tuple is nothing but a set of two elements together. Okay, so why two elements? Because it is in a key value pair. Okay, so let us see the output of this, and then we will understand it more clearly. So if I write dot items and if I press enter like this, so again you can see that it's actually a list, and inside the list we have various tuples, and each tuples will have two values. So the first value is for the key and the second value is for the value. Okay, I hope it is clear till this. Okay. Okay, so again this is the same thing that we have seen here. Okay, So to determine if a specified key is present in a dictionary or not, we will use the in keyword. Okay. So again, we will use the in keyword, right? So again, in keyword, if you remember, we have used this in list as well. Okay. So let us see how do we do this. So suppose I want to check whether the key brand is present in the dictionary or not. Okay. So what I will do, I will write if brand in this dict. Okay. I will press enter and I will give right indent, so four spaces, and I will print. If this is true, I will print brand in keys. Okay. So again, you can see that brand is in keys. Okay. But suppose if I want to print whether the value Ford is in this dictionary or not. So what I can do, I can write if Ford. So Ford is a value, right? It's not a key. So if Ford in this dict, so what I will do, I will print that Ford in values, right? But it is not printing anything. So can anyone tell me what happened?
Sir, here 40 the value, and this loop is checking for the key. So there is a no
Right,
Ford key, so they
right,
are not printing it.
right. Which means if I'm just writing the name of the dictionary, it will just check for the keys. It will not check for the values. Okay. So to explicitly tell the loop to check for the values, what I can do, I can write. So if Ford in this dict dot values, I can do this. Okay. And then if I print Ford is in values, it will print Ford is in values. Okay. So if I give the dictionary name only, it will search for the keys only. Again, I can do the same thing by not giving the dictionary name, but I can write what dictionary this dict dot keys. So if I write this dict dot keys, and if I don't write dot keys, if I write the dictionary name only, it will do the same thing, which means it will check for the keys only. But if I want to check for the values, I will need to specify explicitly that this dict dot values. Then only it will search for the values. Okay. So I hope I'm clear till this. Okay. Right. Okay. Again, you can make change to a specific item by referring to its key name. Okay. So which means again, if you remember that, let me clear this. If you remember that, if I wanted to get the value of a key, so either we can use the square bracket method or we can use the get method. Okay. So using the square bracket method as well, we can change specific values of specific keys. Okay. So let us say that, for example, I will write this dict, and for example, I will take the key as type. So since it's a string, it will be in inverted commas. Okay. And it was electric initially. So what I want to do is I want to change it to manual, for example. Okay. So if I print this dict now, you can see that the type has been changed into manual. Okay. So how we can change specific values to specific keys by using the square bracket method. But again, as we discussed earlier, we will use different ways by which we can do the same thing. So again, we can do the same thing by using what, a update method. Okay. So what's the update method? Let's understand. So again, suppose I want to change the type into electric. Okay. So what I will do is I will write this dict, right, and I will write dot update. So update is a method, and what argument will we give it to this? We will give a dictionary. Okay. So how we can do this? So we will just give a opening and closing curly braces, just a second, like this. Okay. And I will write, so I will write the key, I will give a colon, and I will write the value that I need to replace manual with. Okay. So suppose I will replace manual with electric concept. Okay. And now if I print this dict, so again you can see that the type has been now changed into electric. Okay. So again, using the square bracket method, we can do the same thing, as well as using the update method, we can do the same thing. Okay. Right. Again, if you want to add new elements to the dictionary, again we can use the square bracket method. So again, suppose I want to add what should I add? Suppose I want to add color. Okay, so I will write this dict and I will give the key name as color like this, and suppose I give it as red. Oh, sorry, just a second. This will be square bracket, this will be equal to, like this. Okay, and now if I print this dict, again you can see that the value, the element with the key color and the value red has been added. Okay. Uh, okay. So again, we can use a different way to do the same thing. So what we can do, we can again use update, right? So suppose in this dict I want to add another element. So again I can write this dict dot update, and again I will use a dictionary for this. And again, for example, I want to add uh, what should I add? Passengers, number of passengers. Okay, so suppose I want to add passengers, and suppose I give it as 4, like this. Okay, and now if I print this tick, again you can see that the passenger 4 has been added. Okay, so again using the square bracket method as well as using the update method, we can add elements into the dictionary, right? Okay. Okay. Very quickly, again, there are several methods by which we can remove elements from a dictionary. So we can use a pop method. So what's the pop method? Let us understand. So if I have this dict and if I write pop, and if I know the name of the key, so suppose the name of the key that I want to remove is passenger. Okay. So I will just write passenger like this. Okay. And if I press enter, you can see that what's why 4 is given as output, because 4 is the value of that key passenger. Okay, now if I print this key and this dictionary, so again you can see that the last element has been removed. Okay. Okay, next thing is something called as pop item. Now what is pop item? Pop item is nothing but it is used to delete the last element. Okay, so if I write this dict dot pop item like this, I will not specify any argument for this. So which means if I want to delete the last element, which means if I want to delete the element color and red, I will use pop item. So if I just press enter on this, you can see that the output is color and red, which means these key value pair has been removed. So now if I print this dict, so again you can see that the last key value pair has been removed. Okay. Okay. Next is again we can use the del keyword. Okay. So if I want to use the del keyword, I will give the name of the dictionary like this. Okay, and inside the square bracket, again we will use the square bracket method in this case. And inside the square bracket, what we will do, we will give the name of the key. So again, the name of the key here, for example, I will remove is tire. Okay, so I will give tire like this. Okay, and if I print the dictionary once again, you can see that the last element has been removed. That was tire. Okay. Okay, next is the clear method will actually remove everything from the dictionary, which means it will clear out the dictionary. Okay, so which means if I write this dict dot clear, and now if I print this dict, again you can see that nothing is there in the dictionary. Okay, and lastly we will have the del keyword. So using the del keyword, if I just give the name of the dictionary, which means that dictionary, the entry of the dictionary in the memory has been deleted. Okay, so which means now if I invoke the dictionary using the name, we will get a error. Okay. Okay, I hope this is clear till now. Okay, anyways, we can loop through this dictionary using what? Loops. Time is very short, so I'm moving very fast. Kindly pardon me for that. Okay, so suppose let us copy this dictionary. So suppose we have this dict, and suppose we paste this. Okay, so using a for loop, what we can do? So suppose I'm writing for I in this dict. So if I don't give dot keys, dot values, dot items, what will I iterate through? Can anyone tell me?
Through key, sir.
Yes. Okay. So I will, if I print I in this case, I will see that it will iterate over the keys. Okay. Similarly, if I give this tick dot keys, so again it will iterate over what? If I print this, the keys. Okay. If I give dot values like this, what will it iterate over? It will iterate over the values like this. Okay, and again, if I give items, not keys but items, so again we will, you can see that we will get the tuples like this. Okay, so I hope this is easy for you to understand. Okay. Anyways, let us move forward. Again, we can use the copy method to copy dictionaries. Okay, so we have seen this in the case of lists. So suppose we have another dictionary called as mydict, and suppose we initialize it as an empty dictionary, and if I write mydict is equal to this dict dot copy like this, and now if I print mydict, so again you can see that the elements of this dict has now been copied into what, mydict. Okay, again we can use another way to do the same thing. So if I delete if I clear, let me clear this. So my dict dot clear, I will clear out the values of my dict. To confirm whether it has been cleared or not, I will just print my dict. So again we can see it has been cleared. So again, if you remember, in the case of list, by using the list keyword, again we can make a copy. So the same thing is applicable here as well. Okay, so which means if I write my dict equal to, and if I just write dict of my dict, sorry, this dict like this, and again if I print my dict, again you can see that the elements will now be copied into my dict. Okay, okay, forward. Okay, so again okay, so we have in the first thing, we can see the same thing that we have discussed now. Okay, okay, a dictionary can contain other dictionaries as well, and this is called nothing but nested dictionaries. Okay, so let us see this example, it will be much more clearer for you. So suppose we have a dictionary called as child one. Okay, and suppose we say that the name of the first child is, for example, what's the name, let us see this. Okay, Emil. Okay, so the name is Emil. Okay, just okay, and what's the date of birth of Emil? So let's say year is, for example, 2004. Okay, so this is one dictionary. So again we will have, suppose, the second child, and the date of birth is suppose 2007, and the name is Tobias. What a strange name. Anyways, so Tobias, child 2, like this. And lastly, suppose we will have 2011, and the name is Linus. This is a good name. Okay, and so child 3, right? So now we have 3 dictionaries. Okay, lastly we will have another dictionary called as my family. Okay, and in this dictionary there will be 3 elements. Okay, what are the elements, let us understand. So the key for the first element is, for example, child 1. So this is the key. Okay, and what's the value? It will be another dictionary, so it will be called child 1. So child 1 we have already declared as a dictionary. Okay, similarly for the second element we will separate this with a comma. The key of the second element, for example, will be child 2. Okay, and what will be the value? It will be a dictionary called as child 2, right? Another comma we will give, and again we will have the key name, that is child 3. Okay, and what will be the value? It will be a dictionary called as child 3, like this. I will press enter. Okay, and now if I print my family, let's see what happens. So again you can see that, so there are 3 elements in this dictionary. So if I want to print the length, so if I print the length of my family, so again we can see that actually there are 3 elements. Okay, and for each element, for the first element the key is child 1, the value is a dictionary. For the second element the key is child 2, the value is another dictionary. And for the third element the key is child 3, and the value is another dictionary. Okay, so I hope I'm clear till this. Okay, and with this we will come to the end of dictionary as well. Okay, okay, so before you leave, I will first stop sharing this screen, and what I will do is, in the chat box I will give you the link of the Google form where I will give your attendance. Okay, so just a second. Okay, so this is the link of the Google form. And again, before you leave, I will just give you the link of the classroom as well. So in this classroom, I just post the PPTs as well as the live videos. Okay, so again, many of you have not joined the classroom, so please join it. and obviously you will find the PPT and the live video for the previous 2 days, and also for today I will paste it within 8 p.m. Okay. So if you don't have any issues regarding today's class, you can just leave and give the attendance. And if you have issues, just stay back, ask me the question, and then you can give the attendance. Okay.
Sir, I have few questions.
Yes, tell me.
Sir, can we access the key from the value in dictionary?
Just a second. Sorry, what was the question?
Sir, my big question is that suppose we have a key 2020 and we know that this key is present in our dictionary and we want to change the key for this value. Can we do so?
We want to change the value for this key.
No, sir, my question is that if we know the value and we want to know the key for that value, can
Okay,
we?
okay. If I know the value and if I want to know the key,
Yes, sir.
for that, there is a method, but I'm unable to remember it right now. There is a method, I guess.
And so,
Tell me.
and my second question is from the list. Can we convert to 1D list to 2D list
Yes, we can do that using NumPy arrays.
using NumPy
Arrays, yes.
from importing the NumPy
Yes,
function and then?
yes. We can do that.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, okay. Okay, anyone else? Do you have any questions? If not, then you can leave the session and give your attendance.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Shreyoshi, Somnath, Shayon, if you don't have any questions, you can leave the session.